Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com coming to you with the Wednesday edition. Scott, it is what?
Hump Day.
Oh, that's right, baby. Good to be here on Today in Sports Betting, Part 1. I'm going to take a look at two dynamite bowl games today. Pretty excited. I know from talking to Scott before the show that he's equal as excited about these two. First, a little recap of yesterday. Scott, we ended up doing okay on the bowl game, huh? A little under there on BYU. That was a premium for me, and I know you were on it.
Well, yeah, we swept the BYU game. We thought UCF just A, wasn't talented enough, B, was pretty undisciplined, and they did commit a couple of dumb penalties in that game to extend drives. BYU is just a much better team. And you knew BYU, especially with the fact that they had a serious shot to have one of the best seasons of program history, not counting the the championship season in the 80s. They came out, you could tell from the opening snap that BYU was fully into the game.
Yeah.
They weren't going to overlook anything. They were going for blood. And UCF, I've had issues with Gabriel in the past. I think that he's a product of the system. I don't think he's very good. And he did not look very good against this very solid defense yesterday.
No, he did. That's what everybody just kept overlooking when they talked about it was going to be an offensive shootout is, BYU's got a defense.
Yeah.
The only team in the nation was top 10 offense and defense. And so
it was more of a trenches thing. We were talking about on the air how BYU's offensive line is just towers over every other team they face usually.
Yep.
UCF couldn't generate any pressure all night, which didn't surprise me.
Nope.
And even on the defensive line, Gabriel was running for his life for the entire first half.
Yeah, agreed. And I had the under for kind of the wrong reasons. I thought BYU would, maybe go a little conservative, try to run the clock, try to shorten the game.
Well, they did in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they did in the fourth quarter, but they came out of the gates firing, man. They came out of the gates, and we are not afraid to be in a shootout with you. We think our defense is better than your offense. We're going to put points on the board and dare you to come and catch us.
See, I don't know if it was a full shootout or they just looked across them and said, none of you can guard us.
Yeah, well, that's
for wide open people the entire half.
And then the Tulane-Nevada game, that worked out as well. I had
that didn't work out for me, but that worked out for you.
I had the play of the day there on the over. That ended up, in spite of some windy weather, the rain kind of held off, and Carson Strong's a hell of a quarterback. I'll say it again. I think he's
definitely better than Pratt. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, Pratt didn't have a good game. But
no, he was not good at all. It was kind of funny because I said I didn't like the side at all. I leaned to Tulane, but I said just publicly, I don't like picking the side here. I think this game's very close. I don't want to touch it. I leaned under, mostly because of the weather.
Right.
Because I thought that both teams wouldn't be able to throw the ball that well. And it kind of felt like both quarterbacks were playing in different weather environments. Because it was just windy and it was raining, and Pratt was 0 for 6 with an interception. I'm like, all right, that makes sense. And it's like, oh yeah, how's Strong doing? He's 9 for 9 with 3 touchdowns. I'm like, are you playing in the same weather? What is happening right now?
Yeah, it was a little crazy. That Tulane missing Williams and missing the sacks there along the.
Oh, they were missing a bunch. I just thought that the weather would impact Nevada's deep passing, and it clearly did not because they were wide open people the entire game.
Not so much. All right, so there's a reason we're spending time on yesterday's actions because we're a little reluctant to get to today's games, but we got to do it, Scott. Let's start with this first one. This is going to be a quick turnaround from the time most folks hear this. This is going to be a 2 o'clock Central and 3 o'clock Eastern start time, and we see the Georgia Southern Eagles taking on the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. Southern's a 6.5-point favorite. 48 is your total. Scott, what's the name of this bowl game?
So you keep putting me on the spot here for these bowl games. Some of these bowl games, truth is, look so painful in terms of matchup. I don't even bother to learn the name, if I'm being completely honest. But looking at the bowl game, this is going to be the Carriers New Orleans Bowl.
The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. That is correct. And where's it being played?
Hopefully New Orleans, but it is actually being played in New Orleans, so good for them.
Questions are going to get harder, so.
Yeah. No, but you never know with all these new potential venues and the whole, with COVID and everything. I don't know if some stadiums or some states are off limits, so they might have to move some stuff every now and then.
If there's any year that the Idaho famous Potato Bowl was going to be played in New Mexico, this would be the year. Of course, nobody's playing in New Mexico. That's a bad example, but
I was thinking like the Rose Bowl in California, even though California banned the 49ers from even showing up in their home state.
Right.
And stuff like that. But
they're
no, this
basically
one's
gonna play
actually played
Rose Bowl in Texas.
Yeah, it is actually not false advertising. They are playing in New Orleans.
Correct. Playing there in the Dome. Scott, at full strength, this wouldn't be a horrible game. You get to see two, kind of contrasting styles there.
At full strength, I'm taking Southern. But unfortunately, they're not at full strength. So you want to talk about some of the injuries going on at quarterback for both these teams?
Yeah, they're basically, both of these teams are decimated. The Bulldogs are missing their main quarterback. Now they kind of ran a split situation where the dude that can pass that's actually not going to be there. He got about 62% of the snaps. They're going to go with Aaron Allen, who is a little weaker on the passing. 65%.
Well, just for specifics, Wirtz is doubtful and Tomlin's out.
Well, that's for or did I say for Southern?
Yeah, I asked you about Southern. I figured.
Southern. For Georgia Southern, Shai Wirtz is doubtful. Their second stringer, like you said, is out. It's down to Miller Mosley, Scott, redshirt senior from Wofford.
Yep.
And kind of an interesting story with him, real quick. He is he graduated from Wofford in the spring, gave up football, was ready to get on with his life, start a new job, went out there, and unfortunately, due to COVID, couldn't find a job. I don't know what his major was, I don't know what his degree was in, but he was unable to find a job. So he said, well, you know what? I better find a program where I can go transfer and play another year of football. So that'll give me something to do. So that's how he wound up at Georgia Southern. You and I were talking briefly before the show about why he would end up at Georgia Southern. He wasn't really a running quarterback, and running that Georgia Southern triple option, you kind of need a running quarterback, which is what Shai Wirtz brings to the table and really makes this offense go. So we're going to be looking at one game here where most likely they're going to be missing their starting quarterback. We still haven't heard for sure about Shai Wirtz, but he's missed the last 2 weeks. He's doubtful for this one. He has been practicing a little bit, but it doesn't look good. So Aaron Allen's going to end up going for Louisiana Tech, 65% completion ratio.
And that's because Luke Anthony's out for the game with a leg injury.
What's that?
That's because the starter, Luke Anthony's out with a leg injury.
Yep. Luke Anthony is out with a dreadful leg injury, a compound fracture kind of thing. Yeah, it's not good of the leg. They have a great wide receiver. Unfortunately, he's so good he's not going to play. He's headed to the NFL draft, but they do spread it around pretty well. They've got 5 receivers that have caught 2 touchdowns or more. Not much of a running game.
Well, their running back opted out, and Justin Henderson. So they also have a backup running back there.
Averages about 4 yards a carry, 4 plays run for. So it's gonna be ugly. I don't know what else to say. What do you got on this one?
Way to put me on the spot. It's one of the bowl games, once again, that I'm really just not fully interested in. I do find it fascinating, though, with both teams having backup quarterbacks, that money has come in on Georgia Southern. So my guess is that's more of a system thing. They'll just think it's easier for the backup to just come in and just read whatever the hell and just pitch it whenever needed. So people like Southern, plus their defense is actually competent. Can't really say the same about Louisiana Tech, which has been pretty bad. But for this matchup here, truth is, since the game is actually in Louisiana, I kind of like Louisiana Tech in this spot here. It's just a matter of I don't know which team is going to look worse offensively. I think they're both going to look pretty bad. But I don't know. When in doubt, take the points. I don't trust Georgia Southern covering with a backup quarterback laying 6.5. I think that's kind of absurd. So I would lean to the points, just because at a total of 78, you're expecting points to be at a premium, and for that reason, I feel like I kind of have to take the points, right?
Yeah. See, that's the other thing about Georgia Southern. They're missing their top running back and their third best running back as well.
They're missing a bunch of people who are the focal points of their offense.
However, they do spread the ball around a lot as far as running the football. They've had 9 guys that have recorded double-digit carries. So if you take out the 2 running backs and Shai Werts, you've still got 6 guys on that roster that have had at least 10 carries in a game. So they're not it's not like the coverage bear at the running back position. Here's the deciding factor for me, Scott. This is not a good La Tech defense at all, especially against the run. They give up 84 and a half yards on the ground, and just 2 times they held their opponents to under 100 yards. One of them was against UTEP. I think we all enough said about UTEP. And then they also did it against Houston Baptist, which is an FCS team that never met a pass they didn't like. So I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to lean Georgia Southern here to cover the 6.5.
Once again, I'm not touching this game. I'm just saying that I think that with so much uncertainty revolving around both teams, I think 6.5 is a lot, don't you think? I know that you can argue Georgia Southern should cover, which I think is a fair argument because I think they're the better team. But I think you'll agree that Georgia Southern should probably not be laying 6.5 in this spot.
Yeah,
I think this number should be around 4.5.
It's kind of a tweener line. I'm not sure that Shai Werts being out has been completely baked into this number.
Well, that's the point, is that it was at 4.5, and now it's up to 6.5. So I don't know if there are some rumors that he might play or something, but you've had some last, I'd say, minute or last day line movement towards Southern.
Right.
I think they're the better team, but 6.5 is a lot of points for a team that's using a third-string quarterback.
Yeah, it's not a great game. It's not ideal.
Do you think motivation plays a huge factor for either of these teams?
No.
Not at all? You don't think Louisiana Tech has an extra something because the game's actually going to be in their home state?
Well, the weird thing is Georgia Southern is actually closer to New Orleans.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, no.
Throwing it out there.
I don't think there's going to be a huge motivation factor here. No.
I don't think it matters either. I just remember Louisiana Tech did get fired up to beat Miami last year in the bowl game. So they have had some success in bowl games lately. Georgia Southern, I really just hated the way they ended the year. They lost 3 of their last 4. They had a couple heartbreaking losses there to Army, Georgia State. Appalachian was by 1 possession also. Some of those teams are actually pretty good, so the strength of the schedule definitely was excusable for some of those losses. But I think Georgia Southern could win. I think they could cover. But at the end of the day, since both teams have a lot of question marks, I'll take the points. But I'm not going to touch anything once again in this game.
Good enough. All right, so the nightcap, probably not going to be quite as good as the nightcap from last night, Scott. This is going to be the Montgomery Bowl. Any idea where that's going to be played?
Hopefully Bama.
Montgomery, Alabama. Very good. It's going to be played in the Crampton Bowl, actually. That's the name of the stadium there in Montgomery. That features the Memphis Tigers and the Florida Atlantic Owls. Wow, another dynamite game here. They just really do come fast and furious here. You know, this is a good FAU defense. I don't think they're as good as their stats would indicate. They beat up on a lot of weak sisters.
Well, they got smacked by Southern Miss in the final game of the season.
That, to me, Scott, that stands out more than anything. That loss to Southern Miss really is a red flag for me about what this defense is really all about. Because by the way, that's the most points Southern Miss has scored since September of 2019.
I think they were also using a brand new quarterback who had pretty much no experience at all that year. I think they really just went off the depth chart and just threw somebody out there in Lowe, who I'm pretty sure was barely involved in the offense all season long. And he came in, he actually provided a spark with 3 touchdowns, 70 rushing yards, about 280 total yards. But yeah, he only played in about 3 games, or he only started about 3 games. So he kind of came on late in the year, did nothing in his first 2 games against UNA and Western Kentucky. He went 12 of 20 with 0 touchdowns, 2 picks against North Alabama, then 6 for 14 for 67 against Western Kentucky. Then he shows up against Florida Atlantic, goes for 209 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. So, yeah, something broke with Florida Atlantic's defense in the final game of the season. I don't know if that's indicative of what's going to happen in this game. But when you're facing off against a pretty solid offense in Memphis, that could be a problem. Yeah,
this is a lot different Memphis team than we're used to seeing. They've been really run heavy the last couple of years with Kenneth Gainwell especially. He's sat out the season due to COVID and or NFL draft. But still got a pretty darn good quarterback in Brady White. I think they're going to come out there and toss the ball around. and do what they need to do. I'm just not sold on this FAU defense. I'll tell you the play that I like, Scott. I like the over in this game. We had it at 50.5, and it's now gone up to 52.5 since we capped that game yesterday. You got any thoughts about this one?
I think I'd have to lean a little bit to the over also, because Memphis just seems like a team that plays overs. But do I really want to take an over with a team that's averaging 20 points per game?
Yeah, that it is. You're going to have to count on Memphis to do most of the heavy lifting here, and that's this FAU offense. They are dreadful. They've put up 200 yards rushing or passing. They did it one time each this season. They put up 381 yards rushing inexplicably against FIU, which that's a team.
FIU's been awful, and they've had a bunch of COVID issues all year.
So. Yeah, and then speaking of awful, they passed for 228 against UMass. So
yeah,
a team that's so bad that they can't even get a conference.
Well, the issue that I'm looking at for Memphis is the fact that even though they have finished 7-3, they really haven't won any games in convincing fashion. At least since the start of the year when they had some of their players before they opted out. But looking at the recent results, they beat South Florida by 1. They beat SF Austin by 40+, but SF Austin's not a D1 team. Beat Navy by 3. I mean, Navy's just had a bad year. They lost to Tulane by 14. Beat Houston by 3. Almost blew a massive lead in that game. So I have a kind of a hard time laying this many points with Memphis when they've struggled to win by margin all year long. I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
Florida Atlantic, I know we've talked about motivation and how it really hasn't applied, and you can't tell what teams are motivated anymore because a decent amount of teams have opted out of bowl games. So I don't know how many of them actually want to be there.
Right.
I'm assuming you agree this game means a lot more to Florida Atlantic than it does to Memphis.
Yeah, I think it does.
Because Memphis entered the year with, I don't think they had a realistic shot of winning the American, but I think they might have had the thoughts of potentially making a title game.
Yeah, winning their division for sure. Yeah.
And they simply just weren't close at all. They had a couple people who hated it so much they left. So I don't really know if you can say this team will be motivated for the spot. But then again, they also won 4 of their last 5 games. So they looked good down the stretch. But Florida Atlantic, this is definitely a step-up spot for them in terms of just representing the program, because I know last year they upset SMU, I think. Didn't they upset SMU in a bowl game last year?
Yeah, sounds right.
So, yeah, I think so. So, based on that, they have done
beat
pretty
the hell
well.
out of them, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait, what?
I think they beat them pretty badly.
No, they did. They smacked them, from what I remember. But then again, that was also with Lane Kiffin, who actually left right before the game. But they still had the offense in place, and they just torched SMU's defense. But
right.
My point is that it's a similar situation where you have a team from the American against Florida Atlantic, and Atlantic has seemed to rally around this type of idea that they're underdogs and we're going to go out and we're going to beat a bigger conference and represent. So they have done that in the past. Is that going to carry over? I don't know. All I know is that I'd lean over. I really don't want to lay the points with Memphis, though, because Memphis has struggled to win by double digits all year long. So I have no interest in laying the 8 or 9 with this team.
I think my best advice for this game, these 2 games actually, this is December 23rd. A lot of you have last-minute Christmas stuff that you need to be doing. Hopefully no shopping is already done by now, but maybe you got some wrapping or some food preparation. I'd do that stuff today. I would
just watch basketball. But yes. But, yeah, sorry if you were expecting, strong opinions on these games. They're just not very good.
Look, it's 2 average games where you've got a lot of guys hurt.
I'm not greedy. I'm happy these games are even being played at this point.
Yes, agreed. And, for all the poo-pooing, I'm sure I'm going to sit down and watch both of these games.
I'll watch a bit of it.
I'm going to have action on them. That's just the way it is. But it ain't going to be a ton.
Well, I'll tell you what. It definitely helps when there's only one NBA game on TV tonight, and it's at 10 o'clock or 10:30.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you got to get all the good football games over.
If I had to lean anywhere on the side, I'd lean FAU, I guess. Okay. But I'll lean to the over. It wouldn't surprise me if Memphis goes off for 30+, just throwing the ball around the parking lot.
Yep.
And you look at Florida Atlantic, and they do a decent job against Memphis's defense, which has been pretty inconsistent. Because South Florida, I know that you can argue oh, it's in the same state as FAU, but they probably get better recruits or whatever. South Florida is awful.
Yep.
And has won that game by 1 and gave up 33 points in the process. So I'll lean to the over. That's my main lean on this one. But, yeah, I don't exactly plan on sprinting to the window to place it, if you know what I mean.
All right, good enough. And if you're looking for a second opinion on this one or a third opinion, however the case may be, make sure you stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com. They've got deep dives into not just these games, but all the bowl games, as well as all the NCAA basketball games, NBA. Basically, it's your one-stop shop for all things sports betting related and handicapping related. So make sure you stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com. Always there, always free. And, yeah, we appreciate you guys watching today. Of course, we always appreciate if you give us the thumbs up for the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And basically go out there and have a great day, everybody. For myself, for Scott Reichel, for all of us over here at winnersandwhiners.com, hope every one of those tickets in your pocket turns into cash money back at the window. Guys, have a great day, and stay tuned. We'll just see you on the NBA video. All right, take care, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.